the water's edge becomes a front line where prey and predator meet head-on. A single moment of hesitation allows the crocodile to gain control and draw the encounter into deeper water. There is no warning, only a sudden move that overwhelms the animal's ability to respond. In the wild, survival often depends on whether a response comes in time. The Nile crocodile stands as a symbol of Africa's hidden power. It lives among rivers, lakes, wetlands, and the uncertain edges of the shore. Thick, armored skin, a heavy body, and a powerful tail give it a clear advantage. It does not rely on constant speed, but on precise timing. And in the wild landscapes of Africa, a calm water surface is never truly safe. At the peak of the dry season, the Nile basin turns into a harsh survival arena. As grasslands fade to gold and waterways shrink into muddy wetlands, all life is forced toward the few remaining water sources. For lions, this water is essential, yet filled with risk. At the edge, the advantage of a land predator is no longer absolute. As the pride guides its younger members across the shallow stretch, their focus is the strip of grass on the far side. But beneath the still surface, a Nile crocodile weighing over 1,100 pounds lies hidden in deep mud. It senses the slightest vibration, waiting for the right moment to move in. A single misstep can shift the entire balance. When one young individual drifts from formation, the crocodile surges forward from the murky water. The moment unfolds quickly, forcing the adult lions to change direction and guide the group away from danger. In that brief disruption, the separated individual faces a clear disadvantage. Even for adult lions, moving through water remains a major challenge. One misplaced step can trigger a response from predators concealed below the surface. In this environment, strength on land no longer defines control. Control belongs to the one that masters the space. Nowhere does the scale of the migration appear more clearly than in the Serengeti. Herds of wildebeest stretch to the horizon, forming a living current across the grasslands. Each individual weighs around 550 pounds, yet even in vast numbers, they must face unpredictable bottlenecks along the journey. To reach new grazing grounds, they are forced to cross the Mara River. Beneath the murky water, Nile crocodile up to about 16 feet long wait in stillness. They remain close to the surface, exposing only their eyes and nostrils, blending into the current like drifting logs. As the herd presses toward the riverbank, the pace of survival quickly intensifies. Strong currents, steep edges, and pressure from behind can disrupt their formation. A single misstep is enough to create an opening for those waiting below. The crocodiles do not need to pursue over distance. They rely on precise timing, letting the current and spacing bring a target within reach. With a bite force reaching around 3,700 pounds per square inch, they hold a commanding advantage in deeper water. Most of the herd eventually clears the crossing and continues toward the green plains ahead. Yet each passage leaves behind a quiet lesson in survival. In the Serengeti, the crocodile is not only a hidden presence beneath the water, but also a silent force that helps sustain the balance of the grassland ecosystem. The hippopotamus appears like a living fortress in shallow water. An adult can weigh around 3,000 pounds, with broad shoulders and a massive frame. Like the Nile crocodile, it remains closely tied to water, as its skin must stay moist under intense heat. With a jaw that can open close to 150 degrees, this animal is known for its strong territorial nature. At the edge of the marsh, the line of survival becomes fragile when a young individual drifts beyond its mother's protection. A Nile crocodile uses that moment to move in from the murky water. It does not need to travel far, only to wait for the right distance to gain the element of surprise. The tension rises immediately as the surface begins to shift, drawing attention from nearby crocodiles. Yet the defensive response unfolds instantly, without warning. A male hippopotamus detects the threat and surges forward through the cloudy water to close the gap. It opens its mouth wide, revealing tusks nearly 20 inches long, creating enough pressure to force the crocodile to adjust its approach. Others nearby follow, increasing the pressure from multiple directions. Under that force, the ambush predator withdraws toward safer water. As the river settles again, the crocodile remains a formidable presence across the landscape. But against the overwhelming mass of the hippopotamus, retreat at the right moment becomes the most effective survival choice. Beneath the dense canopy of the Amazon rainforest, the jaguar stands as a predator that commands both land and water. Unlike many big cats, it delivers a bite force of around 1,500 pounds per square inch, among the strongest in its class. This strength is used with precision, allowing the jaguar to challenge even heavily protected opponents. Its opponent is a caiman measuring over 6.5 feet, well adapted to murky water and always ready in ambush. The approach unfolds quickly while the river surface remains still. From an elevated bank, the jaguar lunges down, placing its full weight onto the opponent's back. The water erupts with powerful tail movements as the caiman attempts to break free. Even so, the predator targets a weak point in the caiman's defense, using precise positioning to shift control of the encounter. The intense movement soon begins to fade as control shifts toward the attacker. The Amazon current soon returns to its quiet state. The encounter soon ends as the animal is drawn toward the bank, closing a brief yet decisive struggle. In this environment, success does not come from strength alone. It comes from the ability to read an opponent's structure and act at the exact moment. On the open grasslands, a herd of deer survives through alert eyes and constantly attentive ears. Weighing around 130 pounds and capable of speeds near 50 miles per hour, they can often move away from danger with ease. But in the late afternoon, the need for water draws the herd toward isolated pools. At these slippery edges, the margin of safety begins to narrow. Beneath the murky surface, the Nile crocodile operates in a completely different way. It remains nearly motionless, waiting for subtle vibrations from the shoreline. There is no need for pursuit, only precise timing when a target enters an effective range. This patience allows it to maintain an advantage without expending much energy. When one deer lowers its head to drink, a gap briefly forms in the herd's awareness. Using pressure sensors along its jaws, the crocodile moves in with a short, sudden motion, shifting the encounter in an instant. The herd reacts and scatters, leaving the water disturbed before it gradually settles again. In this environment, success does not come from speed, but from timing. Ambush along the water's edge allows the crocodile to conserve energy and maintain control. In the wild, even the smallest misstep can change the outcome. The African buffalo appears as a solid defensive force. An adult can weigh around 1,500 pounds with a thick shoulder build and horns that form a natural shield across the forehead. On dry ground, they are strong enough to make many predators hesitate. But as the herd moves toward the water's edge, the balance begins to shift. The Nile crocodile does not engage the herd directly. It waits for an opening. That moment appears when a young individual drifts from the protective circle, or when an adult pauses on unstable mud. At very close range, a well-timed surge can disrupt the riverbank within seconds. Buffalo rarely allow their formation to break. When a threat becomes visible, leading individuals turn their horns outward, tightening the group and pressing back toward the water's edge. With steady footing and angled retreat, they hold their ground on the shallow sand. This forces the ambush predator to release pressure and withdraw. Even so, the situation becomes more uncertain with younger, less experienced crocodile. A single moment of separation can quickly shift the advantage. At the boundary between land and water, the outcome is never fixed. It depends on which side controls the space at the right moment. A sudden burst of speed from a grizzly bear is enough to shift the rhythm of an entire forest. It does not simply pursue a target, it draws everything into its field of pressure. Its strength lies in a massive frame, powerful shoulders, and a highly refined sense of smell. When the grizzly bear turns its territory into a proving ground, what creature would choose to stand its ground? North American forests are layered with damp leaves and patches of fresh grass in early summer. This is also when many newborn fawns are hidden deep within dense brush by their mothers. Not yet strong enough to run, they rely on remaining motionless, keeping their bodies low and minimizing scent to avoid attention. Yet the grizzly bear is built to detect even the faintest of these signals. Its ability to track scent on the wind, combined with short bursts of speed reaching about 35 miles per hour, allows it to close distance quickly. When danger draws within a few feet, the mother often rushes forward, creating noise or shifting direction to draw attention away from her young. Even so, an experienced grizzly rarely abandons the primary trail. It continues to investigate berry thickets, fern patches, and fallen logs, where silence itself can become the strongest clue. When the trail leads to the hidden spot, the bear's experience and acceleration create a decisive advantage. The encounter concludes within moments. For a mother grizzly raising cubs, that outcome represents not just a meal, but a vital source of energy for the demanding season ahead. When North American forests sink into the cold of winter, the grizzly bear does not endure the season through visible strength in the open valleys. It survives through months of quiet preparation. In late summer and fall, its body steadily takes in berries, roots, salmon, and other high-energy food sources. As snow deepens, the grizzly seeks shelter in ground dens, rock cavities, or wind-protected mountain slopes. In that darkness, its heart rate can drop to below 19 beats per minute, allowing the body to conserve every unit of energy. For a mother bear, the winter den also becomes a place where new life begins. Cubs are born in silence, kept warm by the presence of their mother. When spring opens the forest once again, the grizzly returns as a powerful symbol of dominance. Across the valleys of North America, herds of elk move in groups through open grasslands, pine stands, and the edges of cold rivers. An adult elk can weigh around 700 pounds, strong and alert enough to force any predator to rely on a combination of power, patience, and an understanding of terrain. In late spring, the grizzly bear uses its keen sense of smell to scan open pine areas, where elk mothers often hide newborn calves, weighing about 30 pounds. As the trail leads closer, the grizzly accelerates in short bursts, creating pressure that forces the mother to change direction repeatedly to shield her young. In that moment, the difference in strength and experience begins to shift the balance. By summer, adult elk reach peak condition and can run up to about 45 miles per hour. At this stage, the grizzly does not depend on long-distance speed. Instead, it guides the target toward natural obstacles such as fast-moving water, slick gravel banks, or narrow forest paths. Uneven terrain reduces the elk's speed advantage, while the bear's swimming ability and claws, reaching about 4 inches in length, help it maintain close pressure. The encounter unfolds over only a few tense moments. When the elk loses its rhythm, the grizzly gains control through strength, position, and timing. An adult elk represents a significant energy source, capable of providing over 100,000 calories to sustain the bear for several days. The grizzly often stores this resource beneath soil or vegetation, preserving it for later use. In a demanding, natural world, success does not belong to the fastest alone. It belongs to the one that understands terrain, conserves energy, and adapts its strategy at the right moment. From late June to early September, cold rivers transform into vast corridors of survival. Millions of salmon travel hundreds of miles upstream, carrying vital energy from the ocean back into the forest. For the grizzly bear, this marks a period of hyperphagia, a phase when the body demands the highest possible daily calorie intake. Before winter arrives, each individual must build a layer of fat reserves up to about 4 inches thick beneath the skin. At waterfalls, patience becomes a test of instinct. Grizzlies claim strategic positions where salmon are forced to leap against the current. They remain still for long periods, eyes fixed on every movement in the rushing water. When the moment opens, a swift motion of jaws and forelimbs turns patience into survival energy. As salmon numbers decline, grizzlies leave the falls and move toward shallow streams and low banks. They often focus on salmon eggs, a dense source of nutrition that helps maximize energy late in the season. What remains along the riverbanks continues to support birds, insects, and enrich the forest soil. In the natural world, the grizzly bear does more than feed. It carries energy from the ocean back into the heart of Alaska's forests. The encounter between a solitary grizzly bear and a pack of gray wolves is one of the most intense displays of balance in the wild landscapes of North America. When a wolf pack has just secured a large elk, the scent of food quickly spreads across the valley, drawing a grizzly bear from miles away. It does not approach in secrecy, but walks directly into the center with the presence of a dominant force. The wolves immediately spread out, keeping their distance while applying pressure from multiple directions. Younger members move at the front to distract, while experienced individuals quietly assess openings along the flanks. To defend its position, the grizzly lowers its center of gravity, settles over the food source, and forceful defensive motions capable of immense force. The wolves recognize the risk and choose to pull back, waiting patiently to preserve their strength. The balance shifts when survival priorities turn toward protecting dens in late spring. Emerging from hibernation with depleted energy, the grizzly may approach wolf den sites in search of vulnerable young. With no option to withdraw, the pack responds with coordinated intensity, forming a disciplined defense to shield the next generation. In the end, the larger animal senses the rising cost and begins to retreat with caution. In the wild, this encounter rarely produces a clear winner or loser. It reflects a precise balance shaped by nature itself. The most intense confrontations for a grizzly bear do not always come from prey or rival predators, but from its own kind. When resources tighten, the breeding season begins, or access to food is contested, a species that typically lives alone can become highly assertive. In that world, strength is not only used for hunting, but also for defining boundaries. When a female enters the mating season, a quiet territory quickly shifts in rhythm. Two massive males rise onto their hind legs to display size and project dominance through deep vocal signals. When neither yields, the encounter escalates into a forceful contest of strength. They drive into each other with immense force, using jaws capable of exerting around 1,200 pounds per square inch to secure control, re-establish hierarchy, and push the defeated rival away from the core territory. In Alaska, at natural bottlenecks such as Brooks Falls, dozens of grizzly bears gather in one place. This is one of the rare moments when this solitary species tolerates shared space, yet order is maintained through underlying tension. The largest males hold the most strategic positions, where salmon are most likely to leap within reach. A younger or weaker bear that crosses these invisible boundaries, whether by accident or intent, can quickly trigger a defensive response from the dominant individual. The pressure rises even further when a mother is raising cubs. A female weighing around 400 pounds may face an adult male nearly twice her size. She raises her fur, blocks the approach, and continuously guides her cubs away from danger. In that moment, maternal instinct turns the difference in size into a determined defense. In North America, true power is always paired with caution. The river shows no bias. It only tests every movement. Brief encounters pass in an instant, leaving the surface calm as if nothing ever happened. Whoever controls the space holds the right to move forward. In the wild, understanding the environment is the key to survival. Please consider liking and subscribing so that you do not miss the next journey.